All right, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing which NFL head coaches will be on the hot seat this upcoming NFL season. So I have 4 NFL head coaches who are on the list. These 4 names and these 4 coaches I do believe are on the hot seat for this upcoming NFL season and could be in jeopardy of losing their head coaching jobs after this NFL season is finished and concludes. So, head coach number 1 on my list is Mike McCarthy. As you guys see in the back, the poster of the Dallas Cowboys, yes, it is Mike McCarthy who is on the hot seat this upcoming NFL season because Mike McCarthy has gone 12-5, 12-5, and 12-5, 3 years in a row for the Dallas Cowboys. But the problem is he only has 1 playoff win to show for it. Ever since we went 12-5 for 3 straight years, Mike McCarthy is 1-3 in the playoffs. And it drives me insane to know that Mike McCarthy has had talented teams over and over and over again. And instead of overachieving, we keep underachieving, going 12-5, 3 years in a row with 1 playoff win to show. And I said last year, all NFL season on this podcast, the Dallas Cowboys will go as far as what Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy take them. They didn't take us far because we got stomped on by a 7th-seeded Green Bay Packers in a wild card game when we had home field advantage. So I really could see a scenario where Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones do part ways by the end of the year. I mean, Mike McCarthy has already expressed his frustration for the fact that the team has not spent money during the NFL offseason. And we know the Jones family likes to do things their way, build their team in the draft, and not spend money on veteran players or make valuable trades during the NFL offseason. And that's the reason why we're not a successful franchise, because that's not the way how you win championships in the National Football League now. You need to draft well. You need to make spectacular trades. And you need to get veteran players in there that already have the experience to mesh with these young, talented players that the Cowboys have so you can win a Super Bowl, something that you haven't done since 1996. So I just feel like if they don't make an NFC Championship game this year or a Super Bowl appearance, I think Mike McCarthy does not come back, and I don't believe Dak Prescott will come back. And I'll get into Dak Prescott later on this episode. But head coach number 2 is Nick Sirianni. I do believe that Nick Sirianni, head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, is on the hot seat heading into this upcoming NFL season because of what happened last year. If you guys go back, the Eagles were at one point in the NFL season last year 11-1. The collapse last year of when they had full control of the NFC conference, could have coasted to a number 1 seed in the NFC. They lost full control of the NFC. They lost full control of the NFC East. And then got the dog shit beat out of them in the first round to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the wild card game. A.J. Brown or not, a team that was just in the Super Bowl a year ago should not get stomped on by Baker Mayfield and company in a wild card game. I'm just stating facts. Y'all can say what you want about my Cowboys poster, but it's the truth. And Nick Sirianni, those 3 scenarios of what happened last year put his job, to me, in danger for this upcoming NFL season. I feel like he's on the hot seat now because we all know the standards are high in Philadelphia. Howie Roseman and the rest of the Philadelphia Eagles executives are very high and prestigious on bringing honor and prestige to winning football for the winning culture in Philadelphia. We know that. And I feel like this team, being as talented as it is, if they have a collapse like they did last year, Nick Sirianni's job is done. Because you have coordinators that could be coming for his job, and I think they could fit the bill as the next head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. That being Kellen Moore, who has been a proven good offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys in the past. Vic Fangio, a well-minded defensive coordinator in the National Football League, helped the Denver Broncos win a Super Bowl nearly a decade ago. I'm just saying. I'm looking at these talented coordinators, and I don't see a real leader in Nick Sirianni. I think his job is on the line, especially if they don't deliver with this talented roster that they have in this upcoming NFL season. Now, next guy on the list is Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen, head coach for the New Orleans Saints, is a good-minded defensive coach. Don't get me wrong. He deserves to have a job in this National Football League. His defenses have always been good. And for his time known for the Saints, being a part of low-scoring games with this defense. I mean, he always has his defense in a good position, prepared, playing well. I don't see him being a problem as a defensive-minded head coach, but at defensive coordinator, I should say. But as a head coach, I just don't see what's special about Dennis Allen. I still don't see how he is the New Orleans Saints head coach heading into this upcoming NFL season, because he has yet to be anything special or live up to the hype or fill in the shoes that Sean Payton left behind. And I just haven't seen anything special being done in New Orleans since the days of Sean Payton and Drew Brees left New Orleans. So I have yet to see Dennis Allen take the next step with this New Orleans Saints team. They have yet to be a competitive football team. I mean, a competitive playoff team. Fourth quarter decisions are not in the best interest for Dennis Allen. We've seen it in the past. If you go back and watch New Orleans Saints games, his fourth quarter decision or his crunch time situations aren't really the best being a head coach. And his win-loss record as a head coach isn't the best. If you document his time with the Saints being the head coach and his time with the Raiders, he has 24 wins and 46 losses. The Saints will have, I think that's going to be a team that's going to have a lot of questions to answer if they have a disappointing season this upcoming year in the National Football League. So it will be an interesting scenario to see what happens to this New Orleans Saints team if they have a bad season, and especially with Dennis Allen's job on the line. Now, final coach on this list is Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh, head coach for the New York Jets, is definitely on the hot seat because he's been there since 2021. He's been there for a hot minute in the Big Apple in New York, and I have yet to see Robert Saleh change the culture and build a winning culture in New York since he's been there, or go into a winning culture direction. I see the Jets still stuck in the same standpoint that they were in when they hired this guy, when he was a good defensive-minded defensive coordinator with the San Francisco 49ers back in 2021. And the reason why you guys could say he hasn't had a quarterback or anything, no, Robert Saleh has had his hands all over this New York Jets team because he handpicked his staff when he was hired there in 2021. He handpicked his quarterback in the 2021 NFL Draft when they selected Zach Wilson, quarterback from BYU, with the second overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. He had his hands all over this experiment and his time with the New York Jets. No winning culture. Handpicked your staff that hasn't lived up to the hyper expectations. You picked Zach Wilson, who stuck up the joint and has now got traded for a bag of chips and could be the back burner of the Denver Broncos' plans for this upcoming NFL season if things don't go their way. And I just feel like 3 straight losing seasons, the Jets are now in win-now mode. Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old, coming off of a torn Achilles. If things don't go right in a loaded AFC conference that has the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Texans, the Ravens, the Dolphins, you can't count out Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. If things don't go right for the Jets, Robert Saleh is getting fired. Aaron Rodgers is it might be out of there. I don't see him coming back if they have a losing record. And that is something that Robert Saleh has been a part of since he's been with the New York Jets. He has never had a winning season so far in the National Football League with the Jets. So those are the following 4 NFL coaches I do believe are on the hot seat heading into this upcoming NFL season.